Good afternoon and welcome to Blindformers. I'm your host, Blind Prime, and for today we're going to be looking at Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom Dinobot and learning how to transform him from his robot mode into his Velociraptor mode. Now, Velociraptors are cool. I like Grant. Grant was a cool character in Jurassic Park, and he loved him some Velociraptors, and I like me some Velociraptors. So, we're going to talk about Velociraptors today. And if you like what you see here and you want to see more of it, please like, share, and subscribe. And leave me a comment below talking about Transformers. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, so now let's get into this guy. First off, what you want to do is we've got the, I got to disassemble this just slightly to teach you how to do it because I forgot to do it before. Just get your fingernails in that slit on the tail. We can pull the tail apart and showcase this. Now, in yesterday's video, if you did not watch it, I showed you how to store his accessories on his back. And you do that by plugging his sword into the C port. I call it a C port because it's shaped like the letter C, inside of the tail shield. And then you close the tail shield around it. There we go. And now you have his tail. We're going to set his tail off to the side because that's going to be necessary at some point in this transformation. It does plug into his back on that, there's a little spot to plug it in. Actually, that is a siege port I never talked about. So that's one more siege port. What were we at? 8? So that makes it 9. But it can plug into there and just kind of hang down his back and act as a tripod. But it does get in the way during transformation, so it's my recommendation that you remove it. Now, next step is we're going to raise both of his hands in the air like you just don't care. All right? Both the hands up in the air. Yeah. All the way up. Okay. Now we're going to come around to his back and we're going to break this section here. There it goes. By break, I mean you're just going to pull it apart. And what it is it's the tail fragment that's been put between these two parts that will become Raptor pieces later. And it makes this little rounded backpack thing. But we got to remove the tail section from that and it will pop out with that satisfying click. And then it will extend out on this little bar hinge. And we're just going to have it hang out over there. The fun part about this guy's transformation is it seems he flips himself inside out and, backwards and forwards and around, and then he becomes a raptor. He's got a very intense transformation. His legs are the only ones that don't do much, but they still do some stuff. So, next step is we're going to actually break the waist. By break the waist, I mean we're just going to spin his legs 180 degrees on the waist point, and then we're just going to try it. Break. Hey, yeah, something's up. Okay, we're going to have to do that in a moment. We got to figure out what else we got to break apart first. Go ahead and remove the little raptor hands. If you feel under his armpits, you can find his little raptor hands, and they are in there, and you can remove them. They're not that difficult to remove, except that they are kind of difficult to get a handle. All right, his little raptor hands are behind him, his other hands are in front of him, and now he's got 6 legs. He's an insect. Oh, okay. Next up, we're just going to loosen all this stuff on his chest area, and that should allow us to pull something apart. Oh, come on, what's going on? Ah, there it goes. Okay, so, I forgot. The part necessary to pull apart is actually up here. This is so weird. This is one of those moments of, flipping inside out. So you would think the waist breaks at the waist section, but it does not. We've got to spin that so we can get the raptor scaling, because there's some raptor scaling texture on the waist area. And it doesn't break at the waist. It breaks right here below the head, where the raptor head plugs into this little bitty peg that's connected to, just below where the head is. There's a little rectangular peg that connects to the underside of the raptor jaw. And then that just falls out. And we can go ahead and pick this raptor up just a bit. There it goes. Now the raptor head is there. And now we've got Animal, Vegetable, and Mineral Man. I don't know if you've watched Doom Patrol. Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man is my hero. He's just such a stupid character. That show cracks me up. All right, so now we've got the raptor head coming out of his crotch. It's just kind of funny. We're going to go ahead and pull everything around. We've got to rotate these little hands out. All these little raptor hands. Make sure you point them towards where the head's at, because now we're just going to use the raptor head as a showcase to figure out where everything else is supposed to go. And the head, his actual robot head, we'll deal with in a moment. But first, what we want to do is there's these two. So let's go ahead and continue rotating everything down and around. All right. So we've got the raptor head out, and now we're just pulling the back down. You can feel with your finger, touch the top of the raptor head, and then bring it down, and it should be a dinosaur pattern going all the way to where the head is, and the head's going to actually rotate inwards a bit. Now, these raptor legs on either side, which were his arms, we're just going to maneuver around because there's these pieces that were part of his chest on either side, and they need to rotate into the raptor pieces. So what we're doing here is we're just going to remember how to rotate them. There's a correct way and a wrong way to do this. And okay, so what you want to do is take these pieces that were the sides of his chest, and you're going to go ahead and pull both of them as far away from the chest as you can, apart from one another, like a butterfly opening its wings. Then you're going to rotate one of them. All right, so there's one that's got raptor pattern on the top of it, and then there's another one that's got a bunch of robot textures on the top of it. And it's got raptor pattern on the other side. You're just going to rotate the raptor pattern part, and we're just going to connect these pieces together. Now, these pieces absolutely suck when it comes to connecting them together. They did not make the they didn't really make the pegs really very large or connectable. So you're going to get some gappage in these thighs that we're making here by connecting these two pieces together. But once we get these two thigh pieces connected together, that used to be the sides of his chest, we can then pick up the leg here and feel on the inside of this. You'll find that there is some like little groovy spots, little spots that are picked up and stuff. And what we're doing here is you're going to find the leg, and we're going to look around and find all the little spots that are, little rough textured spots amongst the actual raptor scales, and that's going to go and plug in. And it's going to be very not nice because these two pieces refuse to stay connected. They will never connect together completely. You will always have a little gap between those. I've done my best to try and fix that, but it's just never happening. I've given up on trying to get this guy perfect. I will be straight with you. I'm sure if you spend a few hours or a few minutes actually going over everything, you could probably fix it. But we're trying to keep this video below 16 minutes, so we're not going to try and fix it. We're just going to leave it. But go ahead and figure out how to rotate this leg up into there. There it goes. All right. So what we've done here is we've made thighs and the legs for the raptor. Yay. Go ahead and rotate that spit so that when we close the legs, the negative zone inside of the raptor leg will be facing inwards, not outwards. So we're going to do that with this side too. We're going to make sure that we rotate this around, and now the negative zone, those waffling bits, will be faced inwards. So we've got two legs for a raptor hanging out on either side. It looks like he's trying to fly. He's got little raptor leg wings. Okay, now that we've gotten those apart, completed, we are very close to finishing up the raptor. Next step is we got to come over here to his legs, his actual robot legs, and there's those panels on either side of the leg I talked about during the video review on it. And both those panels are going to open. Nothing's going to happen with these legs other than that. I really wish these legs could snap together a bit. That would help out a lot, but that's not the case. So next step is we're going to collapse the feet into themselves. The heel of the foot is smaller than the front, and it will collapse into the front of the foot very well. It's a very tight connection there. All of these are kind of tight and do hurt your fingers after a while, so be aware of that. Now, we're going to bring these legs down and around, and these legs are going to make up the core of this raptor mode. We're just going to use these to make sure that we have what we're looking for here in a raptor mode. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring these around and bend them at the knee as much as possible. Maybe I screwed that up. I hope I didn't. Okay, so those legs are now just going to be hanging out. They're not really going to do much, sadly. They are just going, oh, that's the problem. I didn't bend them at the knees enough before making all this happen. So let's bend them at the knee a bit more. Open up these two panels. Okay. Now they're bent at the knees at a 45-degree angle, and that should help out a lot whenever it comes to finishing this up. So everything on his back is just going to lay across the legs, and we're going to get this long bit on the end. That is the tail section stuff. This little hollow section that we unplugged from the back, remember that at the very beginning? That the tail connects to, that hollow area is actually going to hide the head. So we're just going to slip that hollow section over his head and hide it just like that. Very easy. Next step is we are going to fold the legs down. Just make sure everything here is where it should be. And this isn't getting confused. Make sure the little doors on either side of the legs are actually open as far as they can go. They don't clip into anything. I know, I hate that too. But they do make this area here thinner to allow these raptor legs to fold down. So we're just going to fold each of these raptor legs down into that hollow section that was just created by, those panels on the sides of the legs. Okay, there we go. Go ahead and open up the hands on your raptor and spin the hand, not the arm itself, because we're trying to keep the waffling on the interior of the robot mode, of the raptor mode. So go ahead and spin the hands. And now let's make sure everything else is put into place. Sadly, like I said, nothing wants to ever pin down here. I still can't understand the lack of pins here. That is just my biggest gripe with this guy. Like, really? You couldn't have had more pins. You couldn't have had more connecting points, more seed pegs and stuff like that you could have connected with, but you didn't. All right. Now that that's all plugged in the back, we're just, the toe areas, the toes are just going to kind of collapse in there. It's all just going to kind of rest on itself. And now we're going to bring the raptor arms forward and around. Make sure that they are hanging out on either side of his raptor head. The little hands falling flat down. Okay, finally, now that we've gotten everything else completed here, we are going to add the tail. Okay, and there goes the tail. Tail is added. There we go. Sadly, the tail has no sort of articulation unless you want to showcase, unless you want the head popping out again. And nothing here wants to ever just stay in place. I have to say, like, there it goes. What? Nuts. Okay, so all the leg stuff folds in there. Cool. And if you press too hard, it's going to collapse into something and break stuff. It's just, there it goes. Okay. And you can get him to stand. Really? You can't sit. Oh, well. There you go. All right. There's the dinosaur mode. I know it looks a little crappy. That's why I don't like beast modes. Let me straight with you. They never do them right. It's really hard to do them right, too, because, you're making a dinosaur. But that's interesting. That side actually stayed tagged in on his right thigh stayed tagged in all of its places, clipped in. His left thigh has a huge gap in it, and there's nothing that you can do about that. Unless you untransform him a bit, and retransform him a bit, and untransform him a bit, and retransform him a bit, you can eventually figure out how to get those pieces to line up. And you can't lower his tail without that problem happening where it pops away from where the head is hidden. So you have to kind of use the joints in his legs in order to really display him in any sort of fashion, because trying to do anything with his back will just cause everything to fall out. And that sucks. Especially whenever nothing wants to line up together, and you try and line it up, and then the tail falls off. Let's get that lined up. These two knees weren't lined up. Why the knees don't have a connecting point amongst them so they can just snap together. Everything, just about in this entire freaking Transformers line has had points that connect together whenever you're doing stuff like this. They're little just spots that tab into place like magic. And then you get to Dinobot here, and they went, those tab things have never worked. We're just gonna rely on gravity to keep this guy together. There you go. That is the Velociraptor Dinobot. My instructions were a little weird, but it's because this is a weird transformation, and I couldn't help but gripe about the non-existence of tabs or connection points. The legs just kind of hang out underneath the body and rely a lot on the tension of the joints in order to work properly. And that's kind of a shame because eventually those joints are going to wear out and then it's just going to fall apart. But that is Dinobot transformed. Please tune into my channel tomorrow where I will be going over Dinobot's Velociraptor mode and talking about its pros and cons. I'll do some more work to try and make it a perfect raptor mode over the night, though I doubt I'll get much better than this. It is kind of a shame that this raptor mode could be better, but it's not, at least in my opinion. Overall rating of this transformation, I'll give it an 8 out of 10 again, because the transformation is very cool. You do a lot with this transformation. A lot of things happen. Like I said, it's neat that he flips himself inside out and upside down in order to achieve the transformation, but he's going to lose 2 points entirely for lack of tabbage. You don't tab the legs together. The legs can't click together to stay in one place. Nothing. The legs don't click into the underside of the body to help that stabilize that. Nothing really clicks into place, and it all relies on the sturdiness of the joints and the firmness of the joints, which we all know as Transformers fans, that wears out after a few years of transformation, and we ain't got no spare transformation cogs. So having the tabs is very important for a transformer. It does keep it together and keeps some stress off the joints, which is what we want. We don't want too much stress on the joints. It wears them out. This guy's got a lot of stress on his joints, and he is going to wear out after a while. It may take 5 to 10 years for him to wear out, but he will wear out. But that's all I've got to say about him. Please tune in tomorrow. We'll do another video, and thank you for watching. And like I said at the beginning of this video, please like, subscribe, share, and comment below. I love to hear some comments from you. What's your take on Truck Knock Monkey? Are you truck or are you monkey? Bye-bye for now.